Explosive? Leaked information or mere speculation? Feinbaum says, John Sumrall being privately mentioned as a top candidate for Kentucky job. Is that true? I want to see your application if you want more Kentucky news. Is Paul Feinbaum throwing gasoline on the fire in Lexington? The speculation surrounding the Kentucky Wildcats coaching staff appears to be gaining momentum, with John Sumrall being mentioned as a potential replacement for Mark Stoops, should the position become available. Paul Feinbaum's recent statement that Sumrall is being privately considered for 2 SEC openings, one of which could be Kentucky, raises an intriguing question about the future of the basketball program under Mark Pope and the direction of his football counterpart, Stoops. With Stoops' inconsistent 2024 campaign, his underperformance has reignited the debate and put pressure on Kentucky to rebuild its strengths. John Sumrall, who has a distinguished track record with the Wildcats, both as a former linebacker in the early 2000s and as an assistant from 2019 to 2021, is currently leading Tulane, leading them to an impressive 7-2 record, with 5 consecutive AAC wins and just 2 losses to highly ranked teams like Oklahoma and Kansas State. That performance has put Sumrall among the highest-rated coaches of his generation, proving his worth in a highly competitive environment and cementing himself as a top candidate for a job in the SEC. Despite Stoops' stable position at Kentucky, as Feinbaum noted, his position does not appear to be untouchable. The Wildcats have struggled this season, culminating in a recent loss to Tennessee that dropped them to 3-6, 1-6 in the SEC. While Stoops' track record with the program is respectable and his contract provides some security, the inconsistent performance has fueled speculation about a change to bring new energy and bolster the school's ambitions. Sumrall's track record at Tulane and, previously, at Troy, where he compiled an impressive 23-4 record in 2 seasons, has helped him to be considered an attractive option to revitalize Kentucky. Commentator Matt Barry shared his thoughts on Sumrall's potential, stating that he is ready to take the next step and be a standout SEC coach. Barry, like Feinbaum, sees Sumrall as a young, dynamic coach who can connect with the Kentucky public not only because of his experience but also because of his history with the program. Sumrall's ties to the state and familiarity with local challenges put him in a strong position if the Wildcats coaching staff is replaced. Big Blue Nation, which has been following every detail of its athletic program's progress, will no doubt be closely watching the story unfold. Furthermore, Feinbaum's mention of Auburn as another team interested in Sumrall adds an extra layer of complexity to the story. If Kentucky decides to keep Stoops, there is the possibility that Sumrall could be headed to a rival SEC school, which could represent a missed opportunity for the Wildcats in terms of leadership and strategy. That prospect increases the pressure on Kentucky's leadership to carefully consider its next steps, ensuring that the football team aligns with Pope's vision of excellence in basketball. Not only does Sumrall have a history of success at the schools he's been to, but he also has a deep understanding of Kentucky's culture, which would give him an advantage if he were to lead the program in the future. For Big Blue Nation, this is a time for reflection, where each performance and result is analyzed not only from a sporting perspective, but also as an opportunity to define the program's trajectory for the coming seasons. The scenario remains uncertain, and the evolution of Kentucky's coaching leadership, if there are any changes, will be watched with great anticipation by the entire university's sports community. And what do you think? Could leadership change in Kentucky? The new college basketball season brings an air of excitement and curiosity to Big Blue Nation, especially with the start of the Mark Pope era at Kentucky. With the season opener scheduled against Wright State at Rupp Arena and a neutral site matchup with Duke just around the corner, there's palpable excitement among fans and growing confidence that the program is in good hands. However, this scenario almost played out very differently, as before Pope, Kentucky's initial target for the head coaching position was Baylor's Scott Drew. Did you know? The search for a new head coach following John Calipari's departure to Arkansas has been a period of tension for Kentucky and anxiety for the Baylor Academy. Drew, with his solid track record and recruiting skills, was seen as the ideal fit to continue the Wildcats' legacy. In an interview with The Athletic, Drew and Baylor Athletic Director Mack Rhoades revealed details about the coach's decision to remain in Waco despite the enticing opportunity to lead Kentucky. Rhoades shared that ever since he learned of Kentucky's interest, he had a real fear that Drew was seriously considering the move. In conversations with Drew, the focus was not on resources or program structure, but rather on life values and personal alignments, reflecting the depth of Drew's appreciation for the invitation. Drew has always had a connection to Kentucky. His admiration for Kentucky college basketball and his friendship with Wildcats athletic director Mitch Barnhart created a bond that nearly resulted in his move to Lexington. Drew's fondness for Kentucky goes back years, from Christmas gifts inspired by Rick Pitino's legacy to his wife's dreams of living in Lexington. Despite this history, it was his connection to family and faith that kept him in Texas, where he remains dedicated to solidifying Baylor's trajectory. Your application is very important to continue receiving more Cat news. Kentucky, meanwhile, has moved on with Mark Pope, who has proven to be a leader who is well aligned with the Wildcats' aspirations. Pope's confidence has been bolstered by successful recruiting, particularly in the transfer portal, as well as an ability to capture emerging talent at the high school level. These new additions have been well received by Big Blue Nation, and expectations for the season remain high. Early signs indicate that Pope is well positioned to lead Kentucky into a deep SEC championship race, where the desire for a title remains as strong as ever. On the other hand, Baylor, now ranked number 8 in the country, is also on a promising trajectory. Drew has shown great skill in keeping the program among the best in the Big 12, and his loyalty to the team reinforces Baylor's commitment to remaining competitive on the national stage. With successful recruiting and a solid transfer strategy, Baylor enters the season with a cohesive team and a fan base that is even more connected to its coach. Kentucky and Baylor's paths nearly converged 7 months ago, but each program has found its way under their respective coaches. For Big Blue Nation, Pope's presence represents a new era filled with promise and possibility, while Drew remains at Baylor. Are you happy with Pope in Kentucky? I'd love to hear your thoughts.